Hi, I'm Rich Fidlow from RF Contracting, and today we're going to talk about property drainage systems. So if your property turns into a lake every time after it rains, or if you just have puddles, then this video could be for you. Now there's three categories that your property could fall into. One would be adequate pitch, which is where you have 18 inches of elevation to drain the water away over a 100-foot run. Minimal pitch is where you have less than that, but you're still higher than where you want to drain out to. And then the third one, which is negative pitch, that's a situation where your options are to either install a dry well or construct a catch basin and install a pump inside that basin to eject the water uphill to get it off your property. Now the tools you're going to need are a site level, which is, comes on a tripod. It's got a sight, it's got a ruler where you can measure the elevation. It'll tell you to the inch exactly how much pitch you're working with. You also want to have a can of marking paint to just mark your drainage lines where they're going to go. But the most important tool is a trencher. Now the trencher, it's going to dig a nice trench for you, nice and straight. It's going to minimize the amount of labor you're going to do. One of the biggest benefits of the trencher that I like is that when you're finished, you have your soil, it's right there. It's similar to fluffed up topsoil. You can just grade it over your pipe to backfill it, tamp it, and you're done. Now a level is also very handy. This way you measure the pipe, every section with the level as you go. You could also use a string line or a line level. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you have several hundred feet of drainage line to install, you don't want to try doing that by hand. Maybe you could think about it. Just don't do it. Now, for purposes of this video, we're going to show you the drain box. Plastic design, very simple. You have a grate here, and you have this area in the bottom for sediment to accumulate, and your drainage line that connects to this pot. You want to put that in the lowest elevation on your property. In many cases, you may want to put two or even more. You run your pipes out. If you're passing by a building, you can tie in the leaders that are coming off the building. And there's a few little tricks to that to do it the correct way. Here we have the correct fitting to connect your downspout to your underground drainage. Goes to a 4-inch solid PVC pipe. You have a 45-degree elbow. And you'll notice what we have here is a Y fitting. So what happens here, your water flow from your drain box is going this direction out. And the velocity of the water coming down the leader with the Y fitting will actually help the drainage system do its job by pushing the water out to the street. And it makes a big difference. You can also connect any sump pump ejection lines that you have with the correct fittings. And if you have a small area that you want to add into the system and you don't want to put another drain box in, you could use a 4-inch cap surface drain and a tight 90, just tie it into the system. You could also install a larger drain box, such as this. And a very common problem that you have with these drain boxes is they become buoyant on a very wet property. They have a tendency to float up. So what you want to do is you want to anchor them down. The most effective way is to actually just drill a hole in the bottom and attach a 2x4 that extends, 10, 12 inches on either side of the box. That's going to prevent it from floating up, and it's going to stay exactly where you put it. You can also install perforations in the sides of these drain boxes, surround it with gravel, dig a bigger hole, obviously, than the size of the drain box, install filter fabric around it. So what will happen is water will percolate through the filter fabric, through the clean gravel, into the drain box, and that'll dry up the subsoil in addition to draining water from the surface. Now, a perforated PVC line is going to serve the same purpose as I had just mentioned. Here's an example of the perforated PVC line. It's got your holes in it. Other than that, it's just standard landscape drainage pipe. You surround that with gravel and filter fabric, and you can install your, you think they're falling down there? That's exciting, and I don't know about that being exciting, but it's what happened. You surround your perforated pipe with the clean gravel, filter fabric, and water will percolate through the fabric into the stone, into the pipe, and flow out. And the different sizes that are available with your drainage lines, you can start out with 3 inch, which is primarily used when you have very limited pitch. 4 inch, 6 inch, you can go all the way up to 48 inch or larger. But keep in mind, if you go with these larger drainage lines, they're precast concrete. So you're going to need some heavy equipment to install them. When it's all finished, you backfill it. You may want to do some corrective grading. When you exit, if you're going to drain your water into a street or into the back of a municipal catch basin, you're going to want to cut the curb with a saw, cement around it, and that's basically it. One thing that it continues to amaze me is the percentage of jobs that I have to redo because they weren't done correctly. You wouldn't think this being the case with water, just being gravity fed, that it has to flow downhill. It's not really that complicated. However, a lot of jobs are just not done right, and there's a lot of problems created from it. And that's basically it for today. So remember, the most expensive job is the one you have to do twice because it wasn't done right the first time. That's all for today, and we'll see you later.